All right, y'all. So, hey, I'm Tashi. I just wanted to come on and just talk about like these things that I've been feeling or whatever for the last like couple of days or whatever, but most importantly today. Yesterday, like this week, I've been pulling different cards from different decks that I haven't really played with. And surprisingly, the decks have been saying like some really like stuff that's just like what. Okay, so like last night I picked a card that basically was saying like be mindful of social media, how comparison and social media will can shift your perspective and things like that or whatever. And so I've been noticing like how this coronavirus and stuff like that is like super duper like heavy on social media. There's so many different like people that are like being super scared, and then there's people that are like, y'all are crazy, what are you scared of, you know what I'm saying? And then there are, now the quarantine stuff is coming up and things like that or whatever. And so I had kind of like felt drawn, like the other day I had went to the store and I just bought like hella herbs. Like I spent like over $300 at the grocery store on herbs, and then I bought like hella water. And just like something was kind of telling me like stock up on things, like make sure your household has the things that it needs. Okay, cool. So then I'm seeing like this different stuff about quarantine and things like that or whatever. But I had a dream. I want to say it was like in July sometime, before I moved here to where I am currently in South Carolina. I had a dream before I moved here that, or while I was here, one of the two, it was either July or August, in between one of those 2 months, that I had a dream that I was here in Lake Carolina, which is where I live. And when I first got here, where I lived was a gated community, and it's the only community in Lake Carolina that has a gated community. And I had a dream that someone had came around through the community and kind of told us that we had to be out by a certain time. This was around the time that no, this wasn't around the time of the hurricane, but the dream came back to me around the time when it was the hurricanes were coming through the Carolinas or whatever the case may be, right? So I got this feeling of like pack a bag, you know what I'm saying? Like have a bag ready or whatever, and just have it in a truck or whatever. And if they say you need to leave, then you need to go ahead and go. Because prior to me moving to Lake Carolina, I did have a dream that I was in a gated community and that somebody had came around and said to us that we needed to be gone by a certain time. And I did not take heed to that. So therefore we were locked in the subdivision or whatever. They wouldn't let anybody get out the subdivision or whatever the case may be to like leave out or anything like that. And it was just like really weird because like it was like I kind of felt like purge energy. And when I got here in Lake Carolina, that's the energy that I feel around here. It's very purge-ish energy. And when I say purge energy, just like how the purge was, if you saw the original purge, I mean not the original purge, if you saw the very last purge that they put out, and it showed y'all the how the actual like the very last purge, I'm sorry y'all, but the very last purge was the initiation purge, like how the purge first started, right? So you have the very first purges that they put out or whatever, where you saw that everything was on lockdown. But this last purge shows y'all how the purge even started. You know what I'm saying? And it shows basically like, you know what I'm saying, that there wasn't much crime happening in the beginning when, the purge was happening or whatever. So they brought people from other islands over, and when I say other islands, like other parts of New York, they brought other people from other parts of New York, because I think it was like Staten Island that they were doing the purge on originally. And it was like, that area, and they allowed people to leave or whatever the case may be. Like if you were in the church, you pretty much had immunity if you were in the churches or whatever. But it was really just like an experiment to see if they gave you a day or some hours to do crime or whatever, what would you do? And it was in the Black community, but wasn't shit happening. And so then they allowed for other people to come over. The government allowed for other people to come over, and I just seen 444 when I looked up at the time on here. But they allowed for that to come over to Staten Island, and then they start like going through the projects and like killing off all of the project, you know what I'm saying? Then they went through and they killed off like in the churches and all the other type of stuff or whatever. But these were people from the other communities, and what they did was they made it seem like, oh, you see, this is why we need to do, you know, whatever, because there's people that want to do this or whatever the case may be. And so when I came here to South Carolina and I lived in this area, and all of this area is like a military area, it's one of the richest communities here, whatever, because the subdivision that I lived in particular, like I said, it's a gated community. And it's the only one that has a gate around it, but there's like over 500,000 families that live over here, swear to God. And it's just very purge energy to me when I'm through here. And so today, you know, somebody had sent me something about like quarantine, and Spirit was like, bitch, I've been trying to tell you, like, you need to be preparing or whatever. And I'm like, okay, cool. So now, I'm just, you know, my thing is that I don't think that we need to be afraid of the coronavirus per se, but the things that they're going to start doing as it pertains to the coronavirus. Like, they stopped the NBA season. They've, you know, you can't travel to Italy, and, you know, all of these different things or whatever. And so I feel as though, you know, soon there could be potentially some sort of like quarantine, and you have to at least have the essentials that you need to have inside of your home. So, you know, stocking up on just water, herbs, like if y'all need help with any type of herbs or whatever, just to keep your family safe or whatever. I am writing a book, and I'm willing to give you guys the book for the free ski. You know what I'm saying? Just so y'all have herb concoctions and things like that or whatever. And I don't know, like, I'm not afraid or anything like that. I'm just, my situation at this point is I'm actually like, and it feels so crazy because I feel like Spirit is telling me to just like continue to move forward and just prepare myself for whatever. Be prepared for anything at this point, you know? And don't let fear box you into going to the store and just buying Lysol wipes, or don't let fear keep you in your home or whatever the case may be, if it's not one of those things that they're saying that you have to do. If they're not quarantining us per se, then at this point, be sure to go and get all the things that you need for your home, or if you order online or however you're doing it or whatever the case may be, just make sure that you have the essentials that you need for your home, and you know, snacks and things like that. So I don't know, I just was feeling like, okay, Spirit again is kind of telling me to be prepared. And I'm actually, y'all, my situation is so crazy right now. My house got foreclosed on before I signed my lease. I'm not really in a lease, so I have until April 1st to move from this house. I literally just signed this lease in November, and I'm moving back to Atlanta, and I'm like feeling so scared to move, to put in a damn application somewhere. And now I feel like I don't want to make a rush decision, because if anything is going on or happening or whatever, you know, I want to be able to make sure that I'm in a stable place, but then I'm feeling like I need to rush and make a decision so that I can be someplace stable. So it's like I'm feeling torn between so many different things in so many different ways right now, but I'm knowing that this disruptive energy that is in the atmosphere is allowing for us to have questions when it comes to certain things, but we have to know 100% without a shadow of a doubt that we are covered, we are protected, and that anything that we are feeling fearful to do is definitely a go. It's telling you to go forward and push forward with it, because we're being told to be afraid when in actuality we should not be afraid. So many messages that I feel like I'm getting from Spirit, and I just wanted to share that with you guys and just see, you know, how y'all felt about it or whatever. So sorry it's a little bit long, but yeah.